Anybody who's seen Bangladesh of the years of the 70s and the 80s will see almost an identical repeat of what happened on August 4th, August 5th. If you go back to 71, 72, when there were two coups, and the writing is on the wall. So therefore, it stands to reason that we need to learn the lessons of what happened on August 5th from that perspective, that we are in a position to be able to reach out to everybody in Bangladesh, irrespective of. And I think the far more important thing than just dealing with political parties or individuals in political parties is to be able to go back to the linkages that we've had in the past on the cultural side, on the economic side. And unless we do that, we are going to continue to face situations where, at least this is what we've heard, the chief advisor having said, the wild statement about the Siliguri corridor and so on. I think we need to be cautious because it indicates that China is just waiting to step in. After all, the logic of the China-Myanmar economic corridor and anything that they do with Bangladesh is essentially to have access to the sea, access to the oceans. So therefore, our thought processes need to change. And we need to go back to a situation where we're talking to everybody, we learn to appreciate what the other side is saying, and we then take a judgment on what we think we should be doing.
Mm-hmm. But so don't you think that, we should actually be worried in strategic terms when we hear about, let's say, old World War II airports being sort of, revived by with Chinese help and stuff like that? Should that be of concern to us?
Oh, absolutely. You see, the Chinese, state of play in the neighborhood is such today that our own responses, excepting in odd cases like Sri Lanka, have tended to be a little desultory. And therefore, we need to be, very careful and very watchful of what the Chinese do in Bangladesh. What the Chinese do elsewhere is equally of concern. But because of the current political instability in Bangladesh, even, for example, if Bangladesh were to award the Tista Award, the revival of the Tista River to the Chinese, that would be a matter of concern for us. So anything of a strategic nature, even on the economic side, would be, of worry to us. I mean, after all, we were, for so long, we were the pathway for Bangladeshi textiles to the rest of the world. If tomorrow suddenly Dhaka decides that I don't want that anymore, then I think we have a cause for concern.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting because, Mr. Mukherjee, let me just ask you a separate question from this whole thing. We are talking about, let's say, friendship between, India and Bangladesh, what it used to be earlier and why it has changed like this. But there is also a school of thought which says that, or rather some Bangladeshis are saying that, look, you guys keep saying that we are small fry, you're not bothered about us, yet everything we do is under watch, under scrutiny, kind of a thing. Why don't you just leave us alone? You shouldn't interfere. Anything that India says or does is seen as interference. How does India balance the two things?
It's, there's a very piquant situation today. After Hasina's exit from Dhaka, things have changed. Number one is this anti-India rhetoric has gone up in leaps and bounds. It's very difficult to retrieve now. It is going. There's so much of angst against them that every year for Eid shopping, they would come to India and Calcutta and buy. This year, the natural sentiment was running there that they would forego the temptation of buying from Calcutta shops or in other parts of India, all the Eid shopping. And from Bangladesh, by Bangladesh currency, according to a report, they bought goodies worth 3,000 crores takas during the Eid shopping. So they can show that so much of a spirit of sacrifice for that. Not an idealistic thing, but because that fervor, you talked about friendship, has to be brought down. How? That we can discuss later, one. Number two is the ascent of the Jihadi forces there, which was discussed by my friends here some time back. You know, Yunus's, like Janto said, the advisors, Hizb ut-Tahrir and others, they are calling the shots. Whether it becomes Afghanistan or any other part, Iran, socially, culturally, otherwise, it is time to be seen. But completely with my security background, the security implications, because more fillip the Jihadi forces get across the border, it has huge complications in India. Why? Number one, the cascading effect on the communal problem. Suppose something, they are already attacking minorities, not only Hindus. The Shias had been under attack, Ahmadiyas had been under, the Sufi mosques and dargahs had been under attack. So suppose there is a retaliation. There is a huge border adjacent to West Bengal, Assam, Meghalaya, parts of Mizoram, Chittagong hill tracts are there. So a whole lot of security concerns they rise. Now Joyanto says that all inclusive and free and fair elections. Now that depends. A dispensation which comes and a legitimate government is in power where India is in a position to talk legitimately with reason. He talked about raison d'etre. So there's complete absence of reason. They are bereft of that. So unless that rationale comes, you can't talk. You meeting on the sidelines or something, you take, how do you talk? It can't be taken forward. Elections, they say, are due in end of this year or early 26. Now, whatever Hasina did treaties with India, even BNP wants the reversal of those or scrutiny of those. Another government comes, the reversal or not. So India is not in a position to talk to somebody who is legitimately in power. Once a proper dispensation is in place, after getting duly elected, then we can give, see, this is the thing, you do this. And then simultaneously we can increase our cooperation. Cooperation in the fields of security, intelligence exchange, combating terror threats together, as was there perhaps some time back. Now it is completely missing. Another important feature which we should not lose sight of is the emergence of Pakistan and the ISI in the scheme of things. Where did you find in Bangladesh, with so much of cultural and literary affinity with West Bengal and Indian things, I would not say Hindu necessarily, everything, and Jinnah, who was responsible for the partition, his death anniversary was observed in Dhaka Press Club, 76th death anniversary. These are indications of concern. Where is it drifting to?